Hello, everyone. We are now going to be learning Sotah, page 36, Daf Lamed Vav. And today we'll be making up from Friday Shabbos and today's pages of the Talmud of Sotah. So the Gemara says we're still talking about things related to the Jews crossing the Jordan, as well as the Jews crossing the Yam Suf. So he says, come and see, the Gemara says, how many miracles happened at that day when they crossed the Jordan? So number one, they crossed the Jordan was a miracle, as we said, that the sea split. Number two, they came that day to Mount Griz and Mount Ava, which was Shishimil, a big distance, and they made it in that same day. And number three, and they were so powerful on that day that no one could even stand in front of them. It says whoever even saw them or stood in their way, immediately their whole digestive system became loose and they defecated. There was a tremendous fear that was brought on. And then it says that just like Bia Rishon, the first time they came into Israel, this is the way that it was. So we say also Naz Yasher, when we will cross the second time, in the time of Ezra, will also be a very similar miracle. But the Gemara says that truthfully, when Ezra came back to Israel after the destruction of the first temple, it should have been such an incredible miracle and fear, but because we sinned, we lost that opportunity to make that miracle. So then it says they brought the stones, and they built the altar, and they covered it with plaster, and they wrote the Torah in it in 70 languages, which we explained earlier, the different opinions, like it says Be'er Hativ, meaning explained very well in the most beautiful way, and they brought sacrifices, and they ate, and they drank, and they were joyous, and they got the blessings and the curses, and then they gathered the stones, and they went to sleep in Gilgal. And they went to sleep in Gilgal, and that's where they took the stones to. So we learned, related to their crossing of the sea, that hornets did not cross over into Israel with them. The Gemara says, but it says that hornets did cross over. It says, I'll send the hornets to hurt the people who are dwelling in the land of Canaan at that time. So Shimon Lakin says that the hornets never crossed over the Jordan. They stood at the edge of the Jordan and they sprayed their poison, which blinded the people from the land of Canaan at that time, and also it castrated them. Or Papa says there were two hornets, the ones that were plowing with the Jews to protect them in the desert stayed in the desert, and the one of Yeshua is a new set of hornets that didn't pass over, that started with Joshua when he came into Israel. So now we say, going back to the fact what happened by Har Gerizim, Mount Gerizim, Marevo, that there were 6 tribes that went into the Mount Gerizim, and 6 tribes went up in the Mount Ava. But here we say, who were the tribes that went up in Ava? Reuven, Gad, Asher, Zvulun, Dan, Naphtali. And the other tribes went up on Mount Gerizim, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yisachar, Yosef, Binyamin. But it says the word v'hachetz, and the half, as if we're talking about the way it was divided was already a way it was divided before. What does it refer to? So Kana says that the same way that the tribes were divided here, the 6 tribes that went on one mountain, the 6 tribes that went on the other mountain, that's how they were divided on the ephod, on the apron, where there was 2 stones on the kohen's shoulders. And each stone had 6 of the tribes. The 6 tribes that were on one mountain were on one stone. The 6 tribes on the other mountain were on the other stone. So the Gemara asks a question where we see a discussion, and the two rabbis, both of their opinions, disagree with this statement of Rav Kahana. It says that the Kohen Gadol had 2 stones on his shoulders, on the apron, one on one side, one on the other side, and the 12 tribes were written on them. How were they written? 6 on one, 6 on the other. And it says that the second one was in the order of their birth. The first one was in the order of their birth, except Yehuda, who was the 4th one that was born. His name was first. He was the leader. His name was first. And also there were 25 letters. If you count all the 6 tribes on one and the other, there were 50 letters altogether, 25 on each stone. So here we see, according to this opinion, they were not the same order that they were standing on the mountain. It's the order of their birth, except Yehuda. Rav Chanina, the son of Gamliel, says that not the way that they're divided in the Chumash, actually we start reading today, by Midbar, were they written on the stones, but the way they were in the Chumash Shmos. And how is it to come out? The children of Leah are in the right order. The children of Rachel are on the other side, one in the beginning, one at the end, and the 4 children of the maidservants were in the middle. So, but definitely both of these people agree that it wasn't in the same way that they were standing by the two mountains. So what does it mean when it says Bishmaisa, Kiltadesim, like their birth? So he says Tadesim means the way Moshe, Yaakov called them, not Moshe. Moshe, when he called to the tribes, he said Reuveni, Shemaini, not Reuven, Shimon. But basically, we see both these opinions argued. Rav Kahana, they say it was done in a different order on the Ephod than it was done by the Mount Gerizim. According to these opinions, what's Vachetzi? What are we referring to, and the way they were established there? So we're trying to say that the ones on Mount Gerizim were more than the ones on Mount Abel. Why? Because the tribe of Levi was standing in the middle between both mountains. So Gemara says, on the contrary, if Levi was standing in the middle between both mountains, and they were one of the tribes that were on the Mount Gerizim and Har Gerizim, it should be less. So he says, even though Levi was less, but because the tribe of Joseph, which was a very great tribe, was there, so therefore, this tribe, the people on that mountain were more in numbers than the people on the other mountains. What is it about Yosef? Why does Yosef have the blessing of being a big group? So it says that Yosef, the ayin hara, evil eye, does not affect Joseph in any way. There are two reasons. One is because it says ben paras Yosef ben paras alayin, that Yosef is hidden, his blessings are hidden from the eye, meaning the eye can have no effect on it. Or it says because they will be plentiful, like the fish in the sea, and just like the fish cannot have an evil eye, only things above ground. So to the tribe of Joseph didn't have any evil eye on them. Now the Gemara asks a question: how can we say there were 50 letters if you count all the letters of the tribes, the names of the tribes? It's only 49. Where do you have 50? The Gemara says two opinions. One, it says it was Yehoisef. We added a hey, as sometimes in Tehillim it's brought down. His name is Yehoisef. But we say it says Kiltodes, the way they were born, he was called Yosef. So we say really, the second opinion is Binyamin. Binyamin sometimes could be written with extra yud, and that's the way it was actually written when Yaakov called him, and that's the way it was written on the ephod. So there are 25. There are 25 each. Okay, Rab Chana, by business had named Rab Chisda. Hashem Chasid, I mean. That Yosef, a new thing worth learning. He says Yosef that sanctified the name of heaven privately, got extra letter Yehoisef, extra hey, which is a letter of Hashem's name, one of the 4 letters of Hashem's name. Yehuda, who sanctified Hashem's name publicly, his whole name includes Hashem's name. If you take the word Yehuda, Yud, Hey, Vav, Dalet, Hey, has all letters of Hashem's name, Hashem's main name. So how did Yosef sanctify Hashem's name quietly? Like it says, it was that day when he was sold as a servant. He was working by Tifra's home, and he came to the house to do his work. So Yochanan says that what happened was that day, the wife of Potiphar really had her eyes on Yosef, wanted to be with him. And we're told that Yosef himself also was interested in being with her. And he came to the house to do malachta. So malachta, we would say to mean he came to be with her intimately. And there's even an argument to Rav Shmuel. Some says he came to do work, some says he came to actually be intimate with her. Now the Gemara says, how could it be that no one was home? This guy is an important minister, has a big home with servants and many people. Where was everyone? So that day, we're told, was a holiday, a day that they all had to go to do their prayers. And everyone went to do their prayers by their idols. And she said she's sick. And she stayed home. No one else was home. She said, this is the best day to have something happen with Yosef. No one will know. So when Yosef came in, she grabbed him by his jacket because he was trying to run away. Why did Yosef run away? If according to one opinion, he actually was interested in also being with her, because obviously there was a lot of benefits as well coming with it. So it says at that moment, even though at the beginning that was his intention, that moment his father's image was shown to him through the window. Like he saw an image of his father through the window. And his father told him, Yosef, all of your brothers' names are going to be on the ephod, on the stone that's on the apron that the Kohen Gadol will wear. And you're going to be one of them. But if you do this act with her, you're not going to be there. Do you want to erase your name from your brothers? So right away, Yosef held himself back. And he was so aroused that it says that he had to work hard. He put his hands in the floor, his fingers in the floor, to be able to hold back that nothing, he shouldn't let out any semen. And this act caused about that Yosef now was engraved with his brothers on the ephod. Not only that, but he became a Roy Yisrael, became a leader of the Jewish people. Like we say, that Noya Katzon Yosef, that the shepherds, the sheep of Yaakov are led by Yosef. And even to the point that we say Yosef was worthy, that actually that he should have had 12 sons, exactly like Yaakov had 12 sons. But because at the end of the day, he had a desire, he was aroused, and it said that it didn't go out, the semen didn't come out the regular way, but it went out between his hands, meaning that he already had begun an aspect of desiring something that's wrong. So therefore, he did not have the 12 sons, but his brother had the other 10. He had two, his brother had 10. But all of them were called based on him. So one of the kids' name was Bela. Bela means that he was swallowed up by the nations of the world. That was Yosef's story, that he was swallowed up by the nation, but he didn't know where he was. Becher means he was the oldest for his mother. Ashbel means that Hashem kept him prisoner. Gera means that he was living as a guest of others in another nation for a long time. Naaman means that he was very pleasant. Achi B'Rosh means he's my brother and he's my older brother. Mufim V'chutim means Binyamin was saying I didn't see his marriage and he didn't see my marriage. And Erd means that he went to spent his time between the other nations of the world, or he was similar to a rose. Reb Chia Barabba said named Rabbi Yochanan, when Pari said to Yosef that beyond you, I'm going to point you as the viceroy of Egypt, beyond the nose of the ladder, will raise his hand. So Pari Stargazer said, here is a person who was sold for 20 shekels, 20 shekels. And now you're going to make him the ruler above all of us. So Pari said, I see in him the characters of a king. So they said, really, does he know all 70 languages? A king has to be able to talk all 70 languages. So right away, Malach Gabriel taught him all 70 languages. But he had a hard time remembering and learning them well. They added him another name, another letter to the name, the Hey Yehosef. And now all of a sudden, he was able to become master of all 70 languages. And the next day, when Pari spoke to him in every language, he was able to answer him. And then Yosef spoke to him in Hebrew. So Pari says, I don't know Hebrew. So Yosef said, teach me. So Yosef said, I'll teach you. And he tried to teach him, but it didn't work. So he told Yosef, I make you take an oath that no one will know that I don't speak Hebrew. No one can know the secret except you that I don't speak Hebrew. Because everyone thought that he's a god and he's perfect and everything. No one will know except you. And he took an oath. Then when Yosef wanted to bury his father, and he told Pari that my father made me swear that I'm going to bury him in the Holy Land. So Pari said, so go to your elders and rabbis and they'll relieve you of your oath. So he said, Pari, if they relieve me of that oath, then they'll relieve me of the oath I made that no one will know that you don't speak Hebrew. The Pari felt forced to say, if they wanted Yaakov buried in Egypt, okay, bury your father in Israel, I'll let it happen. What is it that Yehuda, we say that Yehuda sanctified Hashem's name publicly. How did he sanctify Hashem's name publicly? Omer said that when the Jewish people were standing by the Yam Suf, by the Sea of Reeds, and it was there, and the Egyptians were behind them, so all the tribes were fighting with each other. Who was going to jump into the water first? Because it didn't yet split. That one says, I'll go first, and Binyamin jumped into the water first. Right away, the tribe of Yehuda went and pushed them out. They said they were throwing stones. They pushed them out. They said, we want to go first. And they went on first. But because Binyamin showed the willingness to go in first, therefore, they merited that the Beis HaMikdash was built in their part, in Jerusalem in their part. Another opinion is that everyone was saying, we're going to go first. While they were arguing, Nachshon, the son of Minadav, went into the water, and he went into the water until he almost drowned, and then the water was split, and this was the merit of Yehuda, that his tribe was Mekadesh and Shemaim Fesi, was thanked by Hashem's name publicly, and therefore his whole name is based on Hashem's letters. This is the page of today, of 36 of Friday.